Welcome back to Boxing Squared. The British heavyweight Dave Allen has announced that he's stepping away from boxing. So in a post on social media, he says, "Hi everyone, I will not be fighting October 19th. My frame of mind is not one I believe I can put together any kind of training camp for this fight, and ultimately physically I'm not feeling ready to compete October 19th, and at the moment even beyond that, but I will cross that bridge when I come to it. I made and make comments all the time that people will question and furthermore blow up to create headlines or drama, but for me they're just how I feel and the norm. I will be taking some time off social media and will be spending time back in the real world, as I feel this is something I have needed to do for a long time. I don't have the want or the need for anyone's sympathy, hatred, or anything in between. I will be back. I always am, but I'm going to be David for a while. The White Rhino is tired." And then it's simply finished off with an X. So David Allen, the White Rhino, stepping away from boxing for the time being. And I guess it doesn't take a rocket scientist to see that something like this could have been coming, because the signs were there, the signals that Dave Allen wasn't in the right frame of mind, but also physically that he has been struggling. You may recall, and there's a little clip running in the background here, Dave Allen, after his loss to David Price, said he hadn't been well, he'd been having headaches, and he'd been unwell for some time. But obviously he'd been grinding through, his training camps and his recent fights, and really the past year or so, or just over a year, has been quite a whirlwind for David Allen. Remember, he stepped into a Tony Yoka fight on short notice, he lost that, was complaining of headaches, and then took another short notice fight to get the biggest win of his career, which really came out of nowhere, the Nick Webb win. And then after that, it sort of spiraled into a run of wins, which obviously has sort of pushed his confidence, and he really did sort of get stuck back into boxing. But there were still signs that he really wasn't quite right. After he admitted after the Bracamonte fight, which was later in the year of 2018, he said he really hadn't trained for that fight. He expected to turn up and sort of blow him out in a round or two. It was almost like he'd fallen in love with the power. And obviously some of the things that he has been saying more recently after that Price win, obviously he said he had headaches again. They had emerged, he wasn't well, but there were other things that he was saying on Twitter. And even though he says some of the things that he says, it's just him. I mean, this one here, always have an urge to blow my own. It's like an itch I'm too cowardly to scratch. I mean, that sort of comment really is, that is not the norm. That is, for Dave Allen it might be, but I think for most other people, that's a pretty concerning statement. And this tweet here by Bearded Walmart, he said, now his account is deleted. Family need to take hold of Dave, and boxing board and Eddie Hearn need to consider the damage he's doing to himself on their watch. I'm not a fan, but I hope he gets help. And, you can see here from this tweet, I agree, some concerning statements. That is a cry for help from Dave Allen. He is saying a number of things in public, about his health, his mindset, and I do hope that he does get well, either physically and mentally, because this boxing game, it is a tough gig. And at the end of the day, you don't play boxing, and these guys are taking massive shots to the head. Dave Allen, who is very limited on defense, taking more than most. That David Price fight was a real eye-opener. He really took a peppering from David Price, the much bigger man, just jabbing his head off all night, landing several heavy blows. And no wonder Dave Allen was continuing to experience headaches and after effects from that fight. And he's clearly come to some sort of crossroads, a point where he just can't get up for this October the 19th fight. I remember when he announced that he was going to be on that Matchroom card on October the 19th, which was in Newcastle, he was so amped to be in it because some of his previous experiences in Newcastle with having thousands of fans, adoring him, singing, along with his ring walk, praising him, really making him feel special. That was something that Dave Allen said was one of the highlights of his life. So he is a guy that has these massive highs, but he's also a guy that has these massive lows. And he clearly has been not right, but he can recognize that he isn't right and that he does need to step away for a while. So I think it's good that he has been able to come to this moment of self-realization, to actually step back and outdo him and make sure that he's right physically and mentally, because if he keeps doing what he's doing, and if he's not right, if he doesn't train, if his mindset isn't right, he could end up, in a very bad way. Boxing is no joke, and if he's not going to give it 100%, he probably shouldn't be in the ring. But I do think, and I do hope that he does get well here, that he does actually take the time that he needs, because, we want to see Dave Allen in a good state of mind, that he is physically okay. And if he doesn't, want to come back to the ring, if he's not able to for whatever reason, well, I think he really has had a decent career for himself. I hope Dave Allen is okay. I hope he takes the time that he needs. And I know he's not asking for sympathy, but I think a lot of people's hearts will go out to him. And I think, it's good he's got the self-realization to realize that there is a problem and it needs to be sorted. What do you make of it all? Drop a comment loud and often. Hit like, hit subscribe. Follow me on Twitter, boxing_squared. I'm out.